What's up, everyone? Welcome to episode 4 of the Solana Dashboard series. Today, we're going to take a look at volume. All right, so let's look at the best case scenario, and that is that the protocol you're trying to analyze and calculate volume for has its data already available in a spell. And here, we know Pump Fund already has its data in the DEX trades table, so we're going to go ahead and utilize that. And lucky for us, there's already a USD amount for each swap column. So we're going to go ahead and utilize that, and just summing that up by the week, we're able to get the total volume of all Pump Fund trades. All right, that's the easy scenario. That's best case scenario. So if you are a protocol, I recommend getting your stuff added to spells so that analysts can just spin up an easy query like this and be able to extract interesting insights for your protocol. Now let's run through a little bit more of a complicated route. So let's look at how I calculated moonshot volume. This got really complicated really fast. What I recommend doing is reading Andrew Hong's guide here on how he calculated swap volume for, I believe it was Whirlpool, and he's joining token transfers on transactions to be able to see what type of assets are transferred. Now, I tried to go this route. Unfortunately for Moonshot, I was not able to get it to get accurate data. I have yet to tell if this is some data quality issue or if it's just something that the RPC isn't putting out the expected function call data or transfer data that I'm seeing. But regardless, we found another way to do it. Basically, what I'm doing here is, let me scroll to the top. I'm grabbing every single Moonshot buy and sell transaction. And these are nicely decoded tables. We talked through them in episode 3. So I'm able to get every single transaction ID that I need. And then from there, instead of looking at token transfers, what I'm doing is I'm looking at the log data. And this gets a little bit messy, but let me show you what log data looks like. If we scroll to the bottom of Soul Scan, we can see this output. So for each of these outer instructions, there's the series of log data. And what I'm looking for is whenever there was a buy or sell, there's always this log output of transferred collateral from buyer to curve account of this much SOL. And I'm trying to isolate that. So to do that, we are going to use this regular expression function. And I'm not going to dive too much into the details of this, but just know all this is doing is it's looking for this specific section of text, and it's extracting the numbers here afterwards. So if you think of the input as this nice line here, the output will then be this SOL value. And that's exactly what I want. Now there's one little hang up here is sometimes in the transaction we just saw, there's multiple buys and sells in a single log message. So we could get this several times reoccurring. And so let me show you this example. In this specific one, we had about 9 buys and sells. So the output looks like this. It's this sort of an array of different values. And so I'm going to have to take this one step further. And what I want to do is unnest that array. I basically want to say, hey, for each one of these values, make it into its own row. So that way I can easily aggregate the data and sum it up accurately instead of having to work through each value in a single row. All right, so now I have the raw SOL values for each buy and swap down into its own row. Now what we want to do is basically take the price of SOL, because again, we're trying to get the USD value ultimately. So I'll take the price of SOL and then I'll join it on that unnested table that we broke out. And I'll basically say, hey, give me that SOL value of the swap, multiply it by the price of SOL that time. And then again, you got to remember we need to divide by the number of decimals that Solana has on the blockchain. And that will give us the volume USD. So that is the much longer way. And I just want to I don't expect everybody to dive in and fully understand this, but I just want to show you some of the logic to solving problems as you're working through and gathering the correct data here. So yeah, this gets complicated pretty fast. Definitely take your time working through this stuff. Hopefully you can find more optimal ways to extracting data other than using log messages, but a lot of times, maybe that's the only data that's available. All right, guys, this was episode 4. I am going to dive into bots next. So stay tuned for the final in-depth query episode. After that, I'm going to kind of walk through some data visualization and dashboard creation stuff. All right, guys, I'll see you.